Hello and welcome to the third round of the Women's Kiss Super League. And what a first couple of weeks of action we've seen so far. It's been absolutely nail-biting. Now, this is not only the first esports league to feature professional cyclists, but it's the first time we'll see the professionals pitted against the community-level riders in the same race. So it's been really interesting to see those tactics play out. So this isn't just about an all-out race to the line. It really does demand that each and every rider in the KISS Super League stays one step ahead, using that brain power as well, of course, as those watts and that all-important power in the legs. Now, where will this week's epic battle take us? Well, we're off to the urban streets of New York, but it's not the Big Apple, as you and I probably know it. It is, of course, the futuristic world of Zwift, New York, and it's got plenty of surprises up the sleeve, that's for sure. Now, this week's course takes place on the Gotham Grind Reverse, and on first impressions it all looks pretty flat, but as we know now, looks can be deceiving, and each and every lap the riders will take on a climb and an elevation gain of 86 metres. So it's not for the faint-hearted, and those power-ups and the correct use of them will be really, really important for success as we head into round 3. Looking back now, though, at round 2, it was Simone Brouillard who was absolutely dominant, yet again securing herself a top 3 placing. Well, we get to see how things are going to play out in New York, but before we go any further, let's take a look back at how things did unfold on round 2.
You're always kind of watching. Where's the orange numbers? Who's going to go first? Sometimes it goes down to the last 100 meters because nobody's willing to be that one that's going to do the lead out. It looks like Amanda's willing at this point to work for show air and just make it fast enough that nobody can come by just yet. They're looking to sweep this podium. They've got 3 in the right spot here. The question's going to be about the aero power-ups, though, because we saw plenty of power-ups already used here. On the front, Amanda Coker now, Clevenger there as well. We see Vicky Whitelaw coming through from the All-Stars here. Who's going to jump first? There it is, aero power-up being dropped by the Canadian rider Bollard. Bollard following the All-Stars. Dixon's trying to go with it, but no, Simone, it looks like coming through with 10 watts per kilogram, 188 piece per coming from Simone Bollard. Bollard looks to be taking this down without a problem. Vicky Whitelaw coming through there, 8.4 watts per kilogram. Can she close it down? But it looks like Simone taking this down with ease as she throws down that power up and comes across the line. First place for Simone Bollard there across the line. Show Air 2020 showing that they've got the watts.
Well then, let's look at those individual standings after 2 rounds as we of course head into round 3 and the New York course, the Gotham Grind Reverse. So in the top spot it is Simone Brouillard of Show Air 2020. In second it's Vicky Whitelaw of the Zwift All-Stars. In third, Erica Clevenger sits with Show Air 2020. Mary Wilkinson is in fourth with the Zwift Academy Dream Team, and it's Cassie Baldy who's fifth currently from the Zwift All-Stars, and in sixth, just behind her, is Leah Dixon, also her teammate. Now, how does that leave those overall team standings? Because, of course, it is this all-important team competition that really counts over the coming weeks. So in that top spot at the top of the team rankings, it is the Zwift All-Stars. They've got 99 points. In second, it's Show Air 2020. They've got 92. In third, it's the Zwift Academy Dream Team. The community team, yes again, they've got 52 points. And in fourth, it's Canyon Schramm with 51, followed by Hagens Berman Supermint, Dolcini Van Eyck, Bigler Cervelo Pro Cycling, and Valkar Cyclons in 8th. And in 9th, it's WNT Rotor. They've got 13 points. But as I keep saying every week, it's still very, very much early in that league, and it is very much still all to play for. Speaking of which, it's almost time to get the race action for tonight underway. So let's join now our race commentator. Here's Nathan Guerra.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and amazing racing so far out on the KISS Super League for the women's side of things. We've got 2 rounds down and number 3 ready to get going. We are in the pens with a minute 30 or so to go out on the Gotham Grind course for 3 laps. Pro racing up against the community and the All-Stars team as well as the Zwift Academy dream team that is out there today. So let's go ahead and jump into the pens here real quick, show everybody what is happening from this section of the race here. And it looks like as we look at the about a minute to go or so, 32 jumping into the pens right now, as you can see. Now the likes of racers, I do know some of these racers did show up over the weekend to some warm-up racing to the season. I believe it was ShowAir 2020 this past week that did show up to a stage race actually over in Tucson, and I do believe that there were some amazing results there for ShowAir 2020 actually over the weekend, with Jennifer Lubke, who is showing up today to race, taking second overall in the time trial. This is a course that could see a breakaway like that get away from lap 2 or 3. We might be able to see something like that. We also have a time trialist in Lisa Brenner out there for WNT Rotor, and I'd be watching out for her as well for some sort of a breakaway. We do see Leo Thorverson out there for the Dream Team Zwift Academy winners. We do get going. So as the watts about to get popping here, quads are locking, orange numbers as usual are what we're going to be having from the get-go, and it does look like it is going to be Leah Dixon here from the Zwift Academy All-Stars starting to lead things out. Hubach also from the All-Stars here, coming out of Denmark, as you can see, starting to make their way forward. Now we are looking at the front end of the main pack right now, and it looks like at 158 beats per minute as this race gets going. Britt Mason taking over the front, as well as Elle Williams here from HB Supermint. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Zwift racing, on the right-hand side of the screen, you do see the rider that is currently selected that we do have on our tools here to watch riders out on Zwift. And the numbers on the right-hand side are showing under the selected rider, the watts per kilogram that they're putting out. You also see all of the riders that are nearby. The current position at the top of the riders nearby is going to be shown as well, out of the number of racers that have shown up. You then are also able to see in the upper left-hand corner the current wattage that the riders are putting out at 257 watts, currently coming from Williams here from HB Supermint at 184 beats per minute at 100 RPM. So that is the statistics that the stats that you are able to see from the world of Zwift. You can also see the current map in the upper right-hand side of the screen as to where they are out on course, as well as the gradient they are experiencing because of the smart trainer that they are on. Taking a look at the front of the pack, though, we do see the All-Stars here right in front of our field of view right now in the orange, blue, and white kit, and it looks like that is going to be Britt Mason actually there in the Zwift. Zwift, I believe that's the Zwift speed bike here, and I believe it's they have been asked actually to ride that as the Zwift All-Stars official bike actually. The rest of the teams obviously can be riding what they do have for their sponsored bikes most of the time for their teams out on Zwift here. So it looks like Amanda Coker here now, ShowAir 2020, making her way up toward the front end of the pack now. ShowAir 2020 without Simone Boilard out there today. I believe she taking the week off this week, so not going to be a threat in the sprint as we did see last week in the sprint out on the Innsbruck course. But now making her way to the front, it is going to be Valkar Silence here with Sanguinetti now with a little bit of attack. 9 watts per kilogram or so in the purple and blue kit, coming out of Italy here. 172 beats per minute, 100 RPMs. A little bit of an attack, didn't go much of anywhere just as of yet. But the reality of this course is it is a lot of rolling over and over again. You get a ton of rolling little punchers, but not any extreme climbs. The Harlem Hill is taken out on this course. It is a figure eight that does cut off the climb over on Harlem. You know, that Harlem kicker, man, it's its own leg snapper. And we do take a left-hand turn, as you do see here, as it does cut off that back end. You see in the upper right-hand side of the map here, you do see that bend there at the back end of that course, and that would be where that Harlem Hill is. So cutting that out, it is going to be a little bit flatter of a course out here today, but there are some sections of the course with some false flats, as well as quite the kicker into the finish line, so we'll be watching out for that. Now, every lap we are going to have a sprint competition coming through the sprint banner, and power-ups are on for the race today. So as far as what is going to be playing out here in front of us for the race today, it is definitely going to be all about the sprint competition, as well as most likely a bunch sprint at the end of the race. Moving way forward, though, it is the All-Stars taking over the front. Showwear 2020 again with Amanda Coker here, 164 beat sprint, currently sitting in sixth place. Eklund now from the Zwift Academy Dream Team now taking over on this little 4% gradient that we do see the riders heading uphill on now. 183, 182 beats per minute now. Leah Dixon now making her way to the front. All-Stars really starting to take over on this left-hand turn and into a climb on the second half of this figure eight. This is most definitely a section of the course where they could put some pressure on a few of the riders toward the back end of the pack right now. We do see Claudia Baring, former U.S. national champion of Zwift, at the back here. Looks like she's sitting in, maybe waiting to pounce a little bit. Perhaps the All-Stars are out here reserving a few matches, with Claudia Baring being one of the stronger riders they do have on the team. Actually, in reality, between all the All-Stars that have shown up on the day today, Britt Mason, we've got out there, we've got Claudia Baring, we've got Leah Dixon, and Louise Hubach. I do not see a favorite amongst those four. They actually are all winning. I mean, all those riders are most definitely riders that could win the race on the day up against the pros today. So they've shown up with a stacked deck, that's for sure, to try and throw down for this KISS Super League round number 3 out on the New York Gotham Grinder Reverse today. So moving forward just a little bit here, let's go ahead and see what's happening at the front end of this pack. We do see Tanya Areth here, the 2017 winner of the Zwift Academy, now taking over the front of the pack, making sure that nobody's able to go anywhere. Now Coker here now battling it out at 6.4 watts per kilogram, 176 beats per minute. This looks to be a counter to what the All-Stars had thrown down on that last little climb. Now into a 4% gradient. This is a section where Areth may be able to turn the screws a bit. 4.8, 5.8 watts per kilogram, definitely into threshold or above at this point, and not able to quite break anybody at the back, except for Walker, it looks like here. The only rider from WNT Rotor that has fallen off pace. Looks like it's going to be said and done for Walker for the rest of the day. So one rider down. It looks like we've still got 31 in the pack currently, as we're watching Amanda Coker here at 173 beats per minute. Main pack right now that we're looking at, and it looks like toward the front it will be Eklund from the Dream Team, this little 6% downhill gradient, making her way to the front now. So it looks like Zwift Academy, or excuse me, Canyon Tram now making the way to the front. Bigla here now we're looking at 183 beats per minute out of Switzerland. Hanselman looks like 3.7, 4.2 watts per kilogram coming from this rider now. Sitting in the middle. Bigla has shown up, it looks like, as well, able to hang on this week. And, you know, the interesting thing this week is that the pack has not split immediately. The first 2 rounds of Zwift racing, we have seen the pros up against the community teams, and every time the community teams so far have made the main pack, made the splits when they do happen. This week, a little bit different here. We've got 31 riders still intact amongst the main pack here, and we're definitely not seeing the inexperience coming in any longer. In round 3, it looks like a lot of the pro teams have really done their homework now and are showing up to race here today with the experience from those first 2 rounds and able to hang on, not just hang on from the watts, but from the tactic that it is for the riders to be able to hold on to the wheels and hit that draft right from the get-go. For those unfamiliar with Zwift racing, it is definitely all about the start of the race as far as making the lead group, as the watts are huge right from the get-go. Somewhat of a, we call it a Zwift race start at this point. It is becoming its own genre of racing, obviously. But if you want to compare it to other cycling disciplines, it would be more to a mountain bike World Cup type start, 1 minute all out. What do you have to hold on versus, or even a cyclocross type start as well, where it's just everything you can get out there for positioning to find that lead pack. Now, the difference being obviously that if you do make the break, there can be up to 100 riders all looking for position in a main pack, and it's not all about finding that hole shot like you do have in cyclocross or mountain bike. So definitely its own type of genre where it has all of its own little intricacies and dynamics that you need to figure out as you tackle the course out there on Zwift. Now, we will be heading into the sprint section. It does look like a couple of riders struggling to hang on, though, at the back end of this group as they come through a couple of these little undulations here. It looks like Vigilia here now from Vicar, Silence now out of Italy, 168 beats per minute hanging on to the back there. Will be right here from Bigla, now 184 beats per minute. Now, this is a race of meters for her because if she does not grab back onto this wheel immediately right now with a 6 meter gap, 7 meter gap, you look at the bottom of the screen right now, if it is outside of 5 meters, Wright does not have a draft on the avatar in front of her. She's got to kick into 5.5 watts per kilometer. That's a little bit of energy used there just to get back on terms with the pack. Able to do so, though, it looks like, is right here now up into that 185 beats per minute. We do see her drop those wattages immediately, looking to get a little bit of reprieve after just a little bit of daydreaming off the back there momentarily, maybe looking for as much draft as she could possibly get, but suffering for it as she lost the wheel in front of her. Will not be rider 31 on the day, though, as she was losing the group there for just a moment now. Moving up to the front end of the group, though, we are going to see it is going to be Valkar Silence now pushing the pace at 382, 6.4 watts per kilometer. A little bit of a lead out looks like happening here as they're about to take the right-hand turn over toward the sprint banner here in just a moment. And we will be having the first sprint on today here, 6.4, 6.2 watts per kilometer, 170 beats per minute. Sinicio here now now making her way to the wheel of the Silence rider here. And this is starting to string things out a little bit as we do see the riders looking to grab the wheels. A little bit of a break was forming, but looks like Leah Thorvinson from the Dream Team shutting that right on down. Hubach sitting in steady there from the All-Stars. Off the back, we do see another rider struggling to hang on. It is going to be Valkar Silence as her teammate was up toward the front of that pack, pushing the pace, now finds herself off the back. Right there from Bigla did suffer to hang on and then off the back herself as well. So it looks like Wright and as well as Vigilia here off the back there. Musioli now trying to jump back onto the pace now, and it will be Tedder Green here as we hit these uphill sections as they head into the next lap here. Not going to be able to hang on here. Sarah now from HP Supermid trying to hang on as well, with the power-ups being used just to grab onto the wheels now. And definitely the pace is being pressed at the front as these riders are struggling to hang on at 4.9 watts per kilometer, 177 beats per minute. That drafting power-up, reducing the effort you have to put out to hold onto the wheel right in front of you. Brennauer here, Lisa Brennauer, the former world time trial champion, looking pretty comfortable at 158 beats per minute and providing the wheel there just momentarily to the riders trying to get back on terms, finding her way toward the front, though, as she was finding herself off the back for just a moment. Now Lisa here, Brennauer, WNT rotor out of Germany, up toward the front end of this pack. 157 beats per minute currently, as you can see, and it's going to be the left-hand turn here onto the second half of the figure 8 now. And it looks like for the sprint there, we can go ahead and bring that up here in just a second. I believe they came through the sprint, but uncontested. It looked like they were not very interested in the sprints, as I believe the riders were just rolled right on through that section of the course. So the riders there not really contesting it, maybe unaware that the sprint was coming up at that point out there today. And we do see Hubach here leading on through as they start lap number 2 out there today. So for the sprints, it was Tanya Erith that came on through, followed up by Lee Thorvaldsen, Amanda Coker, and then Ella Harris. So Tanya Erith taking that down. It was kind of a roll through, and it definitely some counters, though, as they came on through there, which did break things apart. So perhaps it was just stepped up a little bit, but no huge bursts into those orange numbers as they came on through. Maybe it's more about the overall today for the riders. So looking through here now, we do see a lot of power-ups being thrown down as Eklund makes her way to the front here. Now we also have a Showair 2020 rider, Paulus now. Shayna now at the front now, pushing 178 beats per 70 beats per minute, 289 watts now. Ganser here from HP Supermint now making her way to the front. And this is the false flat ascent that we do see after they do start the lap each time they make their way through the lap banner here. And that is starting to really put the pressure on the riders behind here as we do see a break now taking place. As we look back here, it will be Aerith here hanging on the back here now, 1 second back from the front, but not off the back of a draft here. But it is going to be Elle Williams here as well. It's actually interesting to see Lisa Brennauer from WNT Road. They've got some firepower in here if Brennauer is motivated to chase this down, but she doesn't have any teammates in and amongst this chase group right now. Not sure it's going to be able to come back at this point. It is only 8 seconds, but we've got to see up into the 5-6 watts per kilogram to bring this back, and it looks like the front group is definitely motivated to keep this break going, as it is a 10-second gap, and it looks like it's 4 to 5 watts per kilogram at the front end of this group right now to try and hold on to this little bit of a break now at about 10 seconds now. Valkar Silence making the way to the front here. Showair 2020 as well. Thorvaldsen now from the Dream Team starting to press the pace, and looks like they're definitely working together as we do have, it seems to be a lead group of 19 riders off the front now. Lisa Brennauer now 2.7 watts per kilogram in the chase group, as you can see here, and not looking too motivated to bring that on back. So it will be most likely a top 30 situation for that chase group unless they are caught by anybody chasing behind. There are points all the way out to, I believe it is 30th place or so, and so they will be able to collect points for their team still, but it is all about those W's out there to get the most points on the day. Ellie Legg from Showair 2020 taking up the front end of the pack, 3.7 watts per kilogram. The main false flat climb is over at this point, and it will calm down quite a bit. The break has taken place through the sprint as well as the lap banner at this point as we look at the main pack at the front end of the group right now, front end of the race right now. Supermint now at the front as we do see Sarah here now. Tanya Areth now taking over as well from the Canyon SRAM team, making the way up the left side of the screen. Hanselman now as well from Bigla, still involved as we can see. And the All-Stars still with 4 riders. Let's go ahead and take a look at where things have ended up after the initial attacks between all of the teams out on course here. Who has made the lead group? Who has dropped off at this point? And it looks like as far as the front group goes, we do have Showair 2020 with, it seems to be 4 riders still in there with Amanda Corker still up in there. It looks like Jen Lubke as well as Ali Legg and Shayna Paulus all still involved in this main group right now. We also are looking at the Zwift All-Stars with all 4 of the riders intact. Britt Mason's in there, Leah Dixon as well as Louise Hubach, and then it will be Claudia Barron. Canyon SRAM with all of their riders, it looks like. Oh, excuse me, no, 1 rider off the back. It does look like Krista Rafael here off the back from Canyon SRAM, but it will be Ella Harris there as well as Tanya Areth, and then 1 other rider, Hannah Ludwig out of Germany, still able to make this main group. Bigla there with 2 riders, it looks like, hanging strong in and amongst the main group here. Nicole Hanselman as well as Elise Shabby here out of Switzerland. WNT roller with Laura Asensio, it looks like, as well as Laura Vaselli there, able to make this lead group. Huggins Berman, Supermint able to make it as well. Jess Sarah there, as well as Leanne Ganser in and amongst this front group. So that's going to be who's still involved here. Off the back there on the chase, it will be Lisa Brunauer as well as Sylvia Policini and Lily Williams there for Huggins Berman Superman. Trying to make that chase. Krista Rafael there, Canyon SRAM is in there as well in the chase group. About 30 seconds back, we do look at this group of 4 now as they have a 30-second gap to make up. 4.3 watts per kilogram coming Rafael here. See if former teammate actually of Lisa Brunauer, see if they can get together and start working in order to chase this down. But with enough of their teammates up front here, perhaps said and done, they could drop a few off from this main pack if there are any attacks, and that might be their hope to grab a few more points for their team on the day out here today here. So up toward the front, it does look like Canyon now with Ella Harris, a Zwift Academy winner, 185 beats per minute, up in the 5.4 watts per kilogram. The Kiwi now starting to turn the screws a little bit at the front here. Valkar Silence now chasing that down. Ludwig here, Canyon Schramm out of Germany, 187 beats per minute though from Ella Harris now. Canyon Schramm now taking over the front end as we do see the dark black and purple kits now starting to coalesce 3 riders here toward the front as they hit that little uphill gradient, 4 or 5% gradient, but it doesn't look like it's going to be going much of anywhere just as of yet now. Up to the front now, it will be the All-Stars who are covering that. As you do see the response from that attack. Now the second climb. These little kickers, they do matter as they hit into 5-6% gradient almost at these points out on course. We do see the All-Stars now responding to the attack there from Canyon Schramm. We do see on the left-hand side of the course there, it is going to be Claudia Behring now sticking her nose in the wind for the first time that we've seen so far on the day, perhaps starting to get a little bit anxious as to whether or not it's going to be a bunch sprint, and maybe we could see the likes of an All-Star to try and get away. As far as the All-Stars trying to get away on the day, I would leave it to Hubach out of Denmark there that we're looking at here. 157 beats per minute currently, 270 beats per minute. We'll have to see if the All-Stars got anything up their sleeve besides a sprint, as I do believe Hubach is one of the strongest TT riders that they do have on that All-Stars team. We've seen her just hammer away from the Community League races and win those races outright in a TT situation. Now, this is a very different situation, though, for Hubach here, as this is up against pro riders with a lot of power in those legs and very organized with the likes of experienced Zwifters on the Canyon Schramm team, having the reality of Ella Harris in there as well as Tanya Erith in there as well. Both of them obviously very experienced with Zwift racing, winning the Zwift Academies 2018 and 2017. So they are, they are definitely not new blood in and amongst this world of Zwift racing. So trying to get away or use any tactics up against those riders is not going to maybe play out the best that we've seen them able to do in the Community League with the power that is in those legs of those pros riders. Now, Showair 2020 making the way to the front. Shayna Powis now making a little bit of a dig here. 1% grades. They take the left-hand turn here onto the second half of this figure 8. Now on the back end, heading on toward the sprint banner in just a moment. Will be a left-hand turn into the second time they will making their way through the sprint. We're going to see if they're going to contend it again, or contend this time through on lap number 2. Last time we came on through, it didn't look like there was a whole lot of interest from the riders in order to hammer away for that sprint. Britt Mason, I thought would be out there looking for those sprints. One of the strongest riders we've ever seen sprint out on Zwift, taking the W at the live finals in the KISS live finals in Long Beach actually last year. So we'll see if Britt is interested at all in these sprints. But Tanya Erith, it looks like, is the one that's going to be dominating these so far. We see a little kick now into orange numbers coming from one of the Canyon Schramm riders, but not going anywhere just as of yet. Now, moving our way forward here, it is going to be Hubach here. Now it is going to be, we're back with Walker here. We're going to have to move our way forward here. We're back in with the main pack. Excuse us on that. Coker here now toward the front. Hubach now taking over the front now as they make their way to the second half here. We'll be hitting that sprint banner in just a few moments. As you see in the upper right-hand side of the screen here, you do see each of the banners as they do make their way towards them. It's going to be a right-hand turn here in just a moment, and the next sprint banner will be coming up in about 2K or so. Ludwig now to the front. Valkar Silence now. Viselli here. Dixon now. But it is Showair 2020 completely taking over the front end of this pack now, as Shayna now continues to sit on the front and hammer out those watts, maybe making it hard enough that nobody can come around at this point. Now it's going to be Eklund now from the Dream Team here out of Sweden now taking over the front. 187.86 beats per minute currently coming from her as they come on through to about halfway point out on course right now, it looks like. So looking through here, Senko now, Dixon, and now the Dream Team here. Hubach now as well, right from Bigla now, it looks like. Still off the back here. Sorry about that, guys. We're moving our way through all of the riders nearby. Leah Thorverson now from the Dream Team, 168 beats per minute. Lupke now here toward the front, and Showair completely taking over the front end of this pack. Now, I have a feeling that they are going to be looking for this sprint competition and are extremely interested in perhaps trying to take down the next points out there today. Leah Dixon now, though, 4.0 watts per kilogram from the All-Stars in the white, orange, and blue kit. And here comes the next sprint section. We're about a half a K from it. And 4.7 for 6.0 watts per kilogram, 185 beats per minute currently coming from Leah Dixon here. How long can they hold on to these kinds of heart rates now? Shayna Paulus now, as you can see, making her way to the front now, and lots of undulation as they do start the next sprint section here. Is anybody going to go for it? Tanya Arith now setting up, it looks like. No, it's going to be Valkar Silence, 172 now. 8.6 watts per kilogram. It looks like Valkar Silence is showing up on the day. Tanya Arith now trying to come through for it now. 8.6 here coming from Tanya Arith, but no. Second place, it looks like, for Aerith Sanguinetti there from Valkar Silence, able to lead things out up into those 9 watts per kilogram and contending that second sprint. Definitely a lot more interest in the second lap here for the sprint section out on course. So we'll have to wait for the results to come on through for that sprint, but it looked like it was Sanguinetti that was able to take that down. Now a counterattack, though, here coming from Hubach now, from the All-Stars now. Denmark, the Danish rider here showing up for the All-Stars with another rider, Leah Dixon, shower 2020 going with it, and seeing that Valkar Silence, as well as the Canyon SRAM rider Tanya Arith, were on the attack for the sprint. They are countering the rise of the heart rates. They're countering that energy that put in by the riders. They're contending that sprint section, and that's going to put Sanguinetti as well as Tanya Arith here on the back foot now, and that's going to also put, it looks like, Asensio off the back as well. Hanselman from Bigleman now falling off. Tanya Arith now just trying to hang on, it looks like, 174 beats per minute. Viacelli here now as well. Valkar Silent trying to get back on terms, it looks like here. WNTR on the chase here now as well. Hubach here from the All-Stars now. We do see Ganzar, HB Supermit now making way toward the front loop. Hubach here now, and then Showair 2020 with Lupke here. Jennifer Lupke now, the time trialist here, 179 beats per minute coming from her, making her way to the front, trying to push the pace as they do see the struggling happening there from the Canyon SRAM team. But no, all back together. We do see 3 jerseys from Canyon SRAM in and amongst this group here. Now, leg there, Hubach toward the front, pressing the pace, 9% gradient into the final lap as we're heading into the final lap here. And no super contention, as it is going to be a false flat for the next K or so. This is a section that they can really press the pace, though, as they make their way to the front. HB Superman, Hubach now, 5.0 watts per kilogram. This is their time trialist, that's for sure. Now we are seeing an Aero Power up here, being blown by Showair 2020 now. It looks like it's Amanda Coker here now, as well as who else is there with them? With Coker here, looks like Ali Legg and one other rider there from, it is Shayna now as well. Paulus here from Showair 20. So it's 3 riders from Showair 2020 as well as the All-Stars, all toward the front. 1% gradient uphill, and there is the break behind now, as you do see. It is going to be Ella Harris trying to hang on, but Tanya Arith, after those sprint sections, unable to hang on now at this point. HB Superman with Sarah there as well. Viacelli now as well, trying to hang on to the pace there of Tanya Arith now, but 2.8 watts become 173 beats per minute. Looks like everything has been done by Arith here to try and take this down. Looking at the sprint results, will it be worth it, though, as she was able to take down, it looks like, the second place. It was Sanguinetti there for first. Leah Ann Gonzar and Ella Harris. That was the sprint results there for this last lap. Now, looking at the overall, though, Tanya, there's hold on to 8 points, and first overall in that there. Sanguinetti, if she does hang on here to the front end of this pack, she will be able to contest the next sprint before the final there. The final sprint for the overall, and she may be able to take over the sprint competition here on this final lap. We'll have to see how that does play out. It looks like it's going to be Tanya Arith versus Sanguinetti out there, and it is going to be Valkar Silence versus the Canyon SRAM team. But with Tanya off the back here and unable to hang on, the door is open there for, as you do see Sanguinetti here from Valkar Silence sitting in pretty, and all she has to do is take down 3 points in that sprint. Second place or better in the next sprint, maybe not looking for the overall as we head into the final lap here out on course. It's definitely going to be contested through those two little climbs that we do have on the back end of the course. I think that's going to be the next place that we're going to be looking forward to as they do cut off the Harlem Hill section of the course. They will be taking a left-hand turn here in just a little bit, and there's a couple of little undulations on that section of the course that I think we are going to be seeing a few attacks here. Left in this main pack after these attacks here, heading into the last lap. Hubach here, 13th place. 13 riders, it looks like, here over in this front group. Breaking away from the chase of the four behind here. Showair 2020 up toward the front now. It does look like Bearing there, and then it is now Thorvaldsen, Levo Thorvaldsen from the Dream Team able to make this front group as well. Valkar Silence now taking over, and you can recognize that Dream Team there with two jerseys there in the purplish pink. As you do see Thorvaldsen and Ella Harris. No, not Ella Harris there. We're looking through here. What is the other rider from the Dream Team at this point? We'll have to look through and see if we can find the names out there. Shabby here now we are seeing from Bigla now. Lupke there still now as well. It looks like it's Eklund. Eklund that's made the main group. Natalie Eklund and Leah Thorvaldsen holding down for the Dream Team, for the community. Still 4 All-Stars involved here. Leah Dixon, Hubach, as well as Bearing and Britt Mason. They are set up so pretty here, ready to go with Showair 2020 as well with 3 riders, though. Watch out for them, still dominating the series out here today. It's going to be the All-Stars versus, I believe, Showair 2020, unless the likes of Canyon Shram can show up in the final sprint, as well as they still have 2 riders in it amongst this group here. There could be a little bit of upset for some of the teams that have not been able to take down too many points out there. We'd still have Silence out there, Valkar Silence, but I believe Sanguinetti is looking for that sprint competition, and with only 1 rider in amongst this lead group, going to be very difficult to make any take. We'd still have Gonzer here from HB Supermint, though, as well, perhaps able to pull something off here for that team, as they are still trying to make their way up the leaderboard in the overall points here for the races. We do see an attack here from Showair 2020. Amanda Korka here going off the front now. 181 beats per minute, 356 watts on this first of the 2 little kickers here, as we do see them heading into the back end of the pack here. 5.7 watts per kilogram coming to be 183 beats per minute right now, and making her way to the front with a 1 second gap now. Britt Mason, though, now on the chase here. She's going to be the workhorse for the All-Stars now, as we are seeing this happen here. About 5.9 watts per kilogram distance remaining in the race out here today. We are on the final lap out here, and with the current lap right now, as we are seeing, is going to be the final lap with just 5.9 watts per kilogram, 5.9 kilometers left to go. Final lap out here today, as we look at the main pack here with Eklund now from the Dream Team trying to chase down Coker, who does continue to ride away. What an effort here from Amanda Coker here. 2020, Showair 2020 Pro Cycling here. 183 beats per minute. And Showair shutting it down at the front, actually. 4.6, trying to slow things down. Now, the thing is you do not want to come through with too much of an effort here. Definitely want to slow it down and not bring speed to the front, but just barely edge your way to the front there. We do see a couple riders here after those attacks unable to hang on, and now it looks like it's all up to Eklund for the Dream Team, because Leah Thorvaldsen's off the back at 4.5 watts per kilogram. She needs to chase this down now, as we do see Ganser here just trying to hang on as well. Now Ludwig from Canyon Shram here up into that 8 watts per kilogram. Here come the All-Stars now. Britt Mason going, nope, if nobody's going to chase this down to be a workhorse on the front, I'm going to kick into those orange numbers and bridge the gap here. Eklund's seeing that this is the threat now. This could be 3 or 4 off the front now, as it is Coker here from Showair 2020 off the front. Britt Mason there from the All-Stars. Shayna Paulus now on the front there, pushing 5.3 watts per kilogram. The breaks are happening now. Eklund trying to go with it. Dixon going with it as well, it looks like here. Trying to chase that down, but it's 3 off the front. Will the All-Stars calm it down, though? Hubach there, 2.7. They want to let this go, it looks like. 61 kilometers per hour. No. It brings it all back together. That attack from Britt Mason definitely allowed this to come back together as the All-Stars shut it right on down, as we are almost coming into the final few kilometers of the race with only 4.5 kilometers left to go on the day here. And it is really starting to heat up between these riders. Thorvaldsen unable to close it down with the Bigla rider there. It's 135 back then as well to the second chase group as we're looking at here with Sarah as well as Areth there and Viacelli now. Not going to be happening for these riders. Now the first chase group out there with Thorvaldsen and Shabby here from Bigla now out of Switzerland. So it's going to be Errol Harris here on the back, 190 beats per minute, and that's just from trying to hang on. If there's any more attacks at this point, it could completely break this whole group apart. Everybody, it looks like, is on the rivet now at this point as we are toward the front here. Eklund now looking to take over, or perhaps looking to fade backwards slowly as she makes her way to the front here. Most likely just looking for a reprieve as she's at 190 beats per minute currently for the Dream Team here. She's the only hope for the Dream Team left in here. As far as matches to burn amongst the teams, All-Stars, 4 riders. Showair, 2020, 3 riders still in amongst. And then solo riders for the rest of the teams out there. No, excuse me, Canyon SRAM still in there. Still in there with Ella Harris, as you can see, and it looks like Ludwig still in there as well. So Ella Harris, Ludwig here, 4.0 watts per kilogram, as you can see, coming from Ludwig as they make their way up this little 4% gradient here in the right-hand turn in a moment now. They're on the second half of this course here on the final lap now. They're going to be heading into the sprint section, and it's going to be really a battle maybe with Sanguinetti here for the overall in the sprint competition. But I have a feeling that these riders are going to use her as a lead-out for their sprint for the finish out here today, for the podium. I think that Sanguinetti is going to be allowed to lead out the riders out here today. There isn't really too many riders still in amongst the group here that are going to be in contention for the overall for that sprint competition. So Sanguinetti perhaps going to be allowed to sprint it out, lead out the rest of the riders, and then we will start to see the fireworks as we head into that final K. Coker here now, 5.6 watts per kilogram. The All-Stars on the front now. It looks like Claudia Berry now really sticking her nose in the wind at 180 beats per minute, as you can see here. Going to be interesting to see if Berrion's got the sprint on today here out of the USA. And now the All-Stars back at the front. They've got 4 riders still in amongst here. They could really use some team tactics, start playing some cat and mouse, but it looks like they're very interested in just making this a situation where it's just an all-out sprint and just put 4 riders into the sprint. It's surprising to me they haven't sent Hubach or anybody else off the front. Perhaps there's just nothing left in the legs with 2.2 kilometers to go. As we take up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see it's going to be a right-hand turn into the final sprint section here for the sprint competition. We are starting to see Ella Harris making her way to the front there, as well as Ludwig from Canyon SRAM. Sanguinetti here now. Now, the interesting thing, will we see a battle here from Canyon SRAM to try and perhaps take away a few of those points and keep Areth there in second place in that overall for the sprint competition? Now Eklund making her way to the front here as they head into the final 2K now. Eklund really starting to push the pace there in the purple pinkish kit on that Canyon bike there for Canyon SRAM. Ludwig now 4.3 watts per kilogram toward the front there for Canyon SRAM, excuse me. Eklund there for the Dream Team. Excuse me, Jennifer Lupke there from Showair 2020. We see her making her way to the back, but Showair 2020 now starting to take over the front end. Dixon though 5.3 following the wheel there very quickly. And Dixon now taking over for the All-Stars. Will Sanguinetti take out this sprint? That's going to be the question. Valkar Silence here now making her way to the front perhaps. Yep, there she is toward the front end of the pack now. Will she continue on? No, the All-Stars look to be trying to take this down. Not going to allow her to take the sprint. Or perhaps Sanguinetti knew that she had no reason to battle it out there, as we did see Leah Dixon just come right on through. No big deal. Now Ella Harris now making her way to the front. A little bit of an attack there, though, from Eklund up into 194 beats per minute, heading into the final K here. We got a feather power up that could have been used by Sanguinetti into the final here. Interesting to see that she was taking that, using that feather power up, because this is an uphill finish into the sprint banner here. Interesting to see here for that finish banner. But now off the front here, Valkyrie Silence now, it looks like with an aero power up. No, Showair 2020 actually it is, with the Jennifer Lupke off the front. 6.2 watts per 180 beats per minute now. And it's going to be Valkyrie Silence now following that up there, now closing it down. Will she be able to get the gap to hold on to this, though, as we're going to take a turn here in just a moment and head into the final K now. 0.7 kilometers to go. 5.6 watts per kilogram. 187 beats per minute right now, coming from this rider here, Lupke from Showwear 2020, putting the rest of the riders on the back foot. Left-hand turn, we can almost see the finished Dream Team now making with their front. Eklund here, 9.9 watts per kilogram. Eklund trying to make it happen for the Dream Team. Here comes Canyon Shram. Will she be able to hold on to it here to the line? But no, it's the Dream. It's All-Stars. Hubach goes now with it. Now Britt Mason, 13 watts per kilogram from Britt Mason. The All-Stars 1-2 it looks like, as Britt Mason, the sprinter, takes it down. The MTB onto Zwift World there, it looks like. Britt Mason followed up by Hubach there. Eklund there from the Dream Team. Amazing sprint there all around from the riders. And the All-Stars, they're showing that they knew exactly how to play this course. This course specifically out here today, is got a lot of tactics to it. And you've got to know exactly where the turns are coming when the final sections of the course are going to be happening. What the turns are being really familiar to how much distance is left in the race and when to go, because all the turns, all the undulations, it can get, if you're unfamiliar with the course, it can get really confusing out there amongst the riders, actually. So great job there for the riders there, and we've got the leaders finish, just so everybody knows there, guys. So as we come through here, we're going to be bringing the results up here in just a second. We're just waiting for them to populate. It does look like we do have some preliminary results for round number 3 amongst the riders out here today. So let's go ahead and see how things ended up for the top 10 out here in the KISS Super League round number 3. So it does look like we do have, here we go, provisional results. It will be Britt Mason with a full half a second, followed up by Louise Hubach there. And then it was Natalie Eklund from the Zwift Academy, about 1.8 seconds back. Leah Dixon for the Zwift All-Stars there as well. Look at the community team. And like we said there, for this course is definitely a course that has so much going on. You have the sprint banner coming into the final there. You've got the reality of all the turns that are at all different sections. You can't necessarily see the sprint or the finish line in front of you immediately there, so it becomes extremely important to be familiar with it out there. Hannah Ludwig, the first pro team coming across the line there from Canyon Tram for 5th. Shanna Paulus there for Share 2020 for 6th there. Laria Sanguinetti there. It looks like Valkyrie Sidelines. I believe she was able to take down the sprint competition, though, on the day. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in just a moment there. Ella Harris there, 8th. Amanda Coker there coming through for 9th. And then 10th place there going to Claudia Baring as she came across the line. Let's see if we can go ahead and bring in for everybody a replay here real quick of that finish as they came across the line there, as it was the sprint here to the line. As you can see, kicking it there was Eklund leading things out, but no, Hubach come on through with 11 watts per kilogram there, and Hubach with that crazy lead out there, but Britt Mason timing in it in the last few seconds there. Britt Mason able to absolutely demolish this sprint here with 13 watts per kilogram. The speed coming through on the uphill and the aero power-ups. It looks like Eklund there able to just hold off at 9.1 watts per kilogram. Ludwig there just behind, but Leah Dixon did nip Ludwig at the line there, but it is all Britt Mason here across the line, and there's your sprint there, and that's how it ended up amongst the riders. I believe we do have the sprint results here in just a moment as well for the overall points. We'll see if we can bring this on in here, as it does look like, well, they're not quite updated just as of yet. As it is showing, it looks like Tanya Erith here, followed up by Ilaria. Well, did Ilaria Sanguinetti not take down the final sprint, actually? It looks like she maybe did not grab enough points in the final there. We'll have to wait and see for official results that do come through, as it does not look like the sprint results are updating just as of yet. But amazing racing out there today between all of the riders. Again, great job to the All-Stars and the community team. I mean, absolutely dominating, taking the top 4 spots out there today. Obviously, the All-Stars showed up to race and able to take down the top 2 spots with Britt Mason and Louise Hubach there. Natalie Eklund there holding it down for the Dream Team. And then 4th place to Leah Dixon. I mean, it goes to show that it's not just pure water. It's lots of Zwift racing, lots of Zwift tactics out there in order to take down the races. That's going to be it. Nathan Guerra here from, coming at you here from Zwift Community Live headquarters. It's going to be it for round number 3 in the Zwift in the Zwift KISS Super League, round number 3 for the women. We'll be having the men's race tomorrow. Make sure to be tuning in for that. I'm going to throw on to Rebecca, though, to close us out here today. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Oh my goodness, what a fantastic night of action yet again as we move next week into round 4 and the Women's KISS Super League continues. You won't want to miss a minute of this action, so make sure you join us then. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, ride on.